And welcome to another edition of the Live Sports Rush. We are glad to have you with us here on this Sunday night. And of course, since we are live, that means the comments are open. If you got any questions, suggestions, we would love to hear from you. Just simply type them out. We should be able to get them here. Also, a reminder while you're connected, especially on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you give us a thumbs up and like our show. Also, share it with your friends. Let's see how many people we can get connected on this extravaganza that we do once a week live. By the way, it's a big show. Adam Lundy will be joining us here in a moment, but our special guest that will be coming up about 20 minutes or so is the editor, the proprietor, and the chief executive officer of Fighting Irish Preview. He is the inside reporter at Notre Dame, giving us some scoop today, I believe. I think we're going to get some information about that quarterback battle they've got going on and see if anything is sorting itself out as the Fighting Irish count down to their season opener. But to get things started, we got to bring in the man himself. It is Adam Lundy. And of course, Adam, always good to see you on the weekend. And what's been keeping you busy over the last 7 days since we saw you last?
Been on the board for a lot of Tin Caps baseball games. I actually went to a feline cat judging show at the Allen County Fairgrounds yesterday. So that was interesting. I saw a lot of different cat breeds being judged. What else? I
Wait
went
a
to that.
minute. I gotta ask
Yeah,
about this whole
yeah.
cat thing. Now, is that one of those to earn points with the lady of the house, or did you actually? Are you a cat guy?
I'm not like as big of a cat person as my girlfriend is, and she found the event and wanted to go, but I was more than willing to join, and I had a good time too.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, it was
you're
interesting seeing
being a
all the
good
different kinds
you're
of
being a
cats.
good boyfriend trying to earn points at home. I see how it works. You know what I did? Nothing.
What'd you do?
You know
Nothing.
why? Because I don't have anybody I have to answer to, and I don't have anybody I've got to earn points with. So you know what I did? Nothing. I sat and
Nothing.
watched sports. Is what I did this weekend.
I'll tell you what else. We went and checked out that carnival that's at the Coliseum right now.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice couples thing. That's
There's some intense rides there, man. I'll tell
I'd
you
have
what.
looked creepy. I'd have looked creepy going to that thing by myself.
Some good food, but no, hey, good times. But glad to be back here.
All right, so we've got to talk a lot about Colts fever, as we mentioned. Notre Dame news coming up. We've got some high school football updates to give you as far as what to expect with our broadcast. So this is going to be a jam-packed show. And once again, you got any comments, you got any questions, you can always fire away. We will try to get to those. Of course, we always know Ryan is going to be weighing in. He asked if I'm still going to be doing the 15 minutes with Fish. No, that will not happen. I have basically the answer to the question is Fish will not be doing 15 minutes with me because I will not be there. I have been asked to be removed from the studio.
Oh man.
Uh, when love is in the air, nothing is off limits. Great job, Adam. Ryan salutes the romantic side of Adam Lundy.
Thank you. Man, no, the cats were fun. No lie, cats were fun.
I I didn't go to any cat events, and my wife went 1,200 miles away from me, so that probably doing the right thing. All right, so let's get into the Colts. We finally saw them on the field. They had their preseason debut the other night. We didn't see as much of Anthony Richardson as we expected to see. Thought we would see him for a quarter and a half. He went about a half a quarter before getting hurt. And a few takes. Number one, he didn't look terrible. But overall, quarterback play was a meh to me. I wasn't exactly thrilled with any of the three quarterbacks. As is the case almost every year in the preseason, the third string quarterback is always going to look the best because they're playing the most vanilla defense. They're playing the third string defense many times when they get out there. And so a lot of times, third string quarterbacks are generally at an advantage, and usually things go well for them. We saw it with Ellinger for 2 or 3 years. We, saw Riley Leonard have his moments. I don't think he's going to be anything better than a third string quarterback. So, Irish fans, we might have some tuned in because of Phil Houk being on the show tonight. Don't get your hopes up that Riley Leonard is going to somehow break through the clutter and pass Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson and become starting quarterback for the Colts. That's not something that I think will be in the cards, unless injuries. And of course, Anthony Richardson is just a walking injury waiting to happen. And part of it is his own fault. I mean, he got injured his rookie season because he tried to take on linebackers and safeties and ended up injured. Here's the problem with play that got him hurt on Thursday night. And I don't know if you've watched this and broke it down. I actually watched the all 22 where you get the overhead and you can see exactly how everybody is lining up. And I watched this play a few times to kind of get a feel for what did Anthony Richardson see, what did the Colts offensive line see, and even though I feel like maybe the offensive line could have picked up the free rusher, I think the way that Baltimore disguised it made it difficult. And I think, given the circumstances with some backups at the offensive tackle positions, that Anthony Richardson has to be aware of exactly where the action is coming. In other words, you've got to be able to go to a hot read when you have a hot read. And on that particular play, all of the read was on the right side of the field. There was nothing out of the ordinary that was happening on the left, other than the fact that a defensive lineman dropped back into coverage, but nobody extra came on the rush, which tells you the rush is probably happening from the other side of the field, which for Anthony Richardson should have been his front side. Normally they talk about, coming up and sneaking in on the backside, and they always worry about the left tackle being a blocker that doesn't have a play like what we saw Thursday, where a guy comes off the edge completely untouched. Well, in this case, the guy that came in completely untouched was coming right into the face of Anthony Richardson, but somehow Richardson still did not see him. This is a third year guy in the NFL who's got to be able to read a very simple, I mean, this was not a complex pass rush. It was still a fairly simple rush where a guy just got unblocked. But on that side of the field, the Colts had two perfect routes. And I don't know if they were routes that the receivers read that the guy was coming and they broke off their regular route, but you had a wide receiver that ran a short curl pattern, only 5 yards downfield, and you had a back that was swinging out of the backfield. So you had two options to get rid of the football. You didn't even see the rush coming, so you didn't get rid of the ball, and then got blindsided on your front side, which to me is inexcusable. He ends up getting hurt. I'm not going to say he got what he had coming because I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But that's why you have to be concerned with Anthony Richardson. It's not just making mistakes in judgment, but it's just making mistakes in execution of football plays. And this time he gets exposed, he gets hurt, and he ends up missing the rest of the night. Now, the good news, he's back at practice. But that type of play can't and shouldn't happen. And he's got to be able to protect himself. I mean, you can't wrap him in Charmin, which, at this point, you're starting to wonder if maybe that's the only way to keep Colts quarterbacks healthy. But the reality is he's got to be better.
You know how you say you can't read too much into preseason? This is a case where I feel like it's a little bit different because if I'm a Colts fan, I'm concerned that they have managed to put on a in one game and encapsulate what this entire season might end up looking like for the Indianapolis Colts. If I'm a Colts fan, I'm terrified that the season could end up exactly like what we saw in that preseason game. Anthony Richardson coming out, showing flashes, but making mistakes that get hurt. And then it's going to be Daniel Jones at quarterback. And what we saw from him, he was meh. He was fine. He wasn't terrible, but like
Under
not terrible.
50%, under 50% completion percentage. We got to get that out there because that was the problem for the Colts last year. They couldn't complete 50% of their passes. And Daniel Jones went out there and completed, I think, 10 of 21.
And
That's
that's what
under
I'm
50.
saying. Like, it's not going to get you anywhere. And it's just going to be another season of mediocrity. So if I'm a Colts fan, I'm scared that that preseason game was a preview of what's to come.
We did have quite a few of the Colts star players, the higher paid, more experienced, talented guys that did not play in this game. And that brings up the question, why do you put your top quarterbacks out there if you're going to sit your best offensive lineman? That's a serious question, and it should be asked. Because, yes, Anthony Richardson didn't see an unblocked guy, but you also had guys in the offensive line that are not going to be there to protect him during the season, but they should probably be there to protect him if you want to see truly what he can do with the first string offense. And they didn't play, Pittman. They didn't play Ryman. They didn't play Braden Smith. The two offensive tackles were not out there. Ashton Doolin had a heck of a game. He was the star receiver in my mind. But, another guy that turned out, I think, and I've said this all along, this isn't a surprise because this actually goes all the way back to when we had once had a radio show. Tyler Warren, you remember before the draft, I said the whole draft hinged on one name. It was Tyler Warren, and the Colts were either going to win the draft or lose the draft based on whether or not Chris Ballard was able to manipulate himself into a spot to draft Tyler Warren. The Colts got lucky, and the Bears pulled a boneheaded move. They didn't take Warren, and they let Warren slip to the Colts. And I'm telling you, look out. If you've got a little something, now's the time to drop a dime on Tyler Warren. This isn't a gambling show, but it might as well be because almost every time I offer gambling advice, I don't take it. Someone else does. They make money. I sit on the sidelines and gloat.
That's
But the
not bad.
reality is you might want to put a little something on Tyler Warren because let me tell you something. He is going to be utilized by the Colts in every way imaginable. Already in one preseason game, we started to see little tight end screen. They're going to put him in the backfield. They may give him a chance to take a direct snap in a wildcat. I am not at all surprised if we'll see that as part of the offense. And clearly, he's going to be a key in the passing game, and he should be. And so
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a monster season. And I think there's a chance that you will see Tyler Warren at least in the top three of Rookie of the Year. I'm just going to say it now. Put your dime in; it's worth it. I don't know what the odds are. I haven't looked,
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
I'd take whatever they are. I would take it.
But yeah, you mentioned it. That versatility at tight end is something that the Colts have been lacking. So a tight end that's able to do more than just be a big guy to catch a ball is awesome.
Well, it also gives you that second possession receiver so that Michael Pittman doesn't have all the pressure constantly being doubled and trying to make
Yeah.
catches in tight traffic with small windows, because now you take the pressure off, and defenses will have to have an eye on Tyler Warren. Colts have an injury issue.
Yeah,
They're
the
in
bug.
trouble. Justin Wally, torn ACL. He's out. And that is the third corner that was projected to either start or be in the running to be a starter that is now injured. Now, the Colts are still keeping their fingers crossed that Jalen Jones and Juju Brents are going to be back on the field. But right now, down three corners, that's got to be a concern because it was one area that we thought the Colts had solidified their roster, and now it's a real question mark.
Right. And you felt like they had a couple answers for cornerback in the offseason. And then, like you said, we end up with just it could be fill in guys for a good part of the start of the season. So you don't want to see that. It was nice to see some improvement. And then just to take a step back via injuries, you hate to see it.
Any other storylines with the Colts that caught your attention? I mean, obviously, we'll see more with linebackers in the next preseason game. That's one of my question marks. The offense didn't score enough points. You can't just kick field goals and be satisfied in the NFL. They,
70 yards.
yeah, I got one over 50. What do you know? I bet
No,
Vinatieri. I bet Vinatieri could still go out and boot him over 50.
oh man, those legs, they stay muscular for a while.
I just have this feeling that Vinatieri could still go out and kick 50-yard field goals. Hey, by the way, did you see the guy kick the 70-yarder
No,
last
yeah,
night?
that's what I was talking about. That 70
70.
yard field goal was crazy.
Yeah, we're getting excited over a 50-yarder, and you got guys now in the NFL that are kicking at 70 yards. Who
That's
was he?
nuts.
What team was that? I don't even
Was
pay
it the
attention to what team
was
that
it the
was.
Jaguars? I think it was the Jaguars.
The Jaguars?
Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody in the comments, but I think it was the Jags.
Of course, Hunter was the big deal there, getting his debut.
You know what that means though, right? It means the Jaguars are going to kick a
A
70-yard field goal to
70-yard
beat
field
the
goal and beat
Colts.
the Colts. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No other big
The
comments on
Jaguars don't
training
need a
camp.
70-yard
Yeah,
field goal to beat the Colts in Jacksonville. That'll happen organically.
regardless. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, no more major comments, but I do want to say that I did call it on our last show that they're going to tinker with the starting quarterback during these two preseason games. They did not name their starter.
For the Colts,
Yeah.
yeah, it's still an open competition. Daniel Jones is now. See, it was originally the plan was Daniel Jones would get a quarter and a half after Anthony Richardson played a quarter and a half of the first one. I don't know if that's changed now. Um, quite
I
honestly,
think
I'm not sure what they've if
from
they've
what yeah,
is Jones going to play a little less now that Anthony Richardson only played half a quarter.
I believe from what I've seen, it's going to be the original plan for what they had for Sunday with Daniel Jones getting the start and then Anthony Richardson coming in. If anything, it might just be a little less Richardson just because of the finger and everything. I'll
You
double
think
check though.
less or more? I mean, I think the finger is going to be fine. Tape it up. They say rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine. I don't care that it pointed the wrong way.
That did look kind of nasty though.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those that looks ugly, but you give it one pop and it's back in place, and you tape it up, and as long as you
Gotcha.
didn't rip your ligaments, you're pretty good. And I don't think he had any ligament damage.
Here, latest I've seen is Jones is actually only going to be for a few series, and then Anthony Richardson will come in and handle the remainder of the first half, including when the first team offense is on the field.
Okay, there we go. All right. Well, we promised that we had a special guest today,
Oh yeah,
and he's been patiently standing by. And I want to bring him on right now. I'm actively going through my social media, so actually got to play producer a little bit here. So I'm going
yeah.
to I'm going to go ahead and bring in our guest. You hear him regularly every week with Fighting Irish Preview. If you follow him, you might be able to catch a video of him in video. I know he does last word before kickoff, does previews. He writes stories. He's all over Notre Dame. And if you're a Notre Dame fan and you're not following this guy, what the hell are you doing? Let's go ahead and bring him on. It is the Judge, Phil Houk. Judge, looking good. How are you?
Well, thanks very much, Brett. And I'm a little microphone challenged here, unfortunately, tonight. Had a little catastrophe. I hope sound okay, Adam. All right, we're good to go. Yeah, it just seems like we ended the Notre Dame football season because it did go until like the end of January, and then we were all trying to catch our breath. And about 2 months later, then we're already into spring practice and got a breather for a couple of weeks. I married off one of my kids, had a couple other wild things going on this summer, and but I've been down to Notre Dame practice a couple of times and following all the news, and the team can be really good this year.
Well, I know there's lofty expectations, as pretty much always at Notre Dame. I mean, the bar is set very high, and the expectations have been very high under Marcus Freeman. One of the big questions, as has been the last couple of years, is quarterback. So we will get into that. I do have to ask you real quick, though. I know that you occasionally will take a road trip with the Irish. I'm just wondering for the season opener, are you going on the road trip this year?
Fighting Irish Preview will be well represented at that game, but I'm not going to be representing them. I've got another new reporter that's been worked for me in the spring, and then he's going to be down there. And we'll also
I
have
could have been asked, Judge. I don't even need a hotel room.
good point. Good
Yeah,
point. Well, I should have thought of that, but and we'll also have our photographer there. We'll have great coverage. Uh, I won't personally be at that game, but what an atmosphere that will be! Hard Rock Stadium. Miami fans have never forgotten the rivalry. It's never simmered at all for them, and not it has a little bit for Notre Dame because Miami's had some down programs. Well, they're pretty good this year, and they are lying in wait for that. And that's 3 weeks from right now. 3 weeks from this
yeah,
moment, that game will be being played.
yeah. That's going to be a fun one down in the Sunshine State. And by the if you haven't been to the Miami area, Hard Rock is kind of to the northwest of downtown Miami, which actually puts it on the right side of town for where the house is down there. So, you know,
It's it's
when do
really in
they
the middle.
play at Miami again? Like in 11 years, maybe I'll have to put myself on the list.
Brett, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Miami Gardens, right?
You got the Guitar Hotel about
Yeah,
what,
you go back
3
past the
miles?
Hard Rock getting there. I certainly I made that trip a couple of times, not that long ago for the Orange Bowl, and I've been in that stadium a couple of times. A great stadium, but it's kind of like I said, it's off in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
So
it kind of is because you've got
access isn't real easy.
I mean, the only way to get there is you just jump on the turnpike and you take the exit and it drives you almost right into the parking lot.
Yep.
But anyway, that will be the Irish opener. But Judge, I know I spoke to you earlier and you left me in suspense. You told me that you had some updates on the battle for the starting quarterback position at Notre Dame. Let's hear it. Let's get the latest. What's going on in South Bend as far as quarterback goes?
Well, everybody knows that the battle, as it was announced at the end of spring or during the spring, was going to be between Kenny Minchie and C.J. Carr. Odds-on favorite. Everybody in the media, we've all said, well, it's most likely going to be C.J. Carr.
I made that assumption.
There's just so much upside there. But the word right now is it's a true, honest to goodness battle between C.J. Carr and Kenny Minchie. It is not a foregone conclusion that C.J. Carter is going to be your first day starter. In fact, my suspicion is, and we have a little bit of info that would confirm it, that Notre Dame really wanted to have this thing decided by now, by today, by yesterday. Probably they had a practice today. They didn't practice yesterday, but they're not ready to do it. They got a week. The or fall camp ends in a week on the 17th, so a week from maybe tomorrow, whatever that is. And by that really is a drop dead date because that's when they, in earnest, will start their preparation specifically for Miami. But Kenny Minchie is a really confident player. He's been in the program one more year than C.J. Carr. If you think about it, that does give him a little bit more experience. He has a slight amount more game experience, not much though. Uh, and he's a little bit better of a runner. And he's just real confident. He has great command. He's a leader on the team, and everything we're hearing is, I don't know if it's 50-50 right now, but it's probably much closer to that than everybody thought it was going to be.
It kind of reminds me to the situation in Texas because I feel like we have talked for a year or better that, this is Riley Leonard's team this year, but you've got CJ Carr in waiting. I don't feel like Minchie was really talked about all that much. What maybe behind the scenes, but I wasn't feeling it as much.
Well, Kenny Minchie was a 4-star recruit. I mean, and we always heard good things about him, and he is known for being a little bit more of a runner. We saw how much Mike Denbrock liked having a running quarterback last year. It creates a big advantage when you can run and throw. Of course, we all understand that dynamic in football. And Kenny Minchie came out and said he considers himself to be as good as any quarterback in the country. Now, okay, he's a confident dude, right? But he's not. His teammates love him from everything we've heard. He's doing everything right. It's not a slam on CJ Carr. And of course, everybody knows about the first practice, right? CJ Carr throws 3 interceptions in the first practice. And there's a good story that has a Fort Wayne angle about those 3 interceptions that looks like Adam knows what I'm going to say. But one of those interceptions was a terrible throw. I mean, it was just all on CJ Carr, really bad play. Another one of those interceptions wasn't really CJ Carr's fault. It was a perfectly thrown pass. KK Smith just didn't get it fielded, and it bounced off onto somebody else's hands. But it counts. It's an interception. But the third one was a tremendous play by a young man named Tay Johnson out of Snyder High School, my friend. And
Northside.
Tay, I am hearing, or right, exactly, Northside. Tay, I understand, is having a great camp. He had 2 interceptions in that first practice that the media was aware of, but I've heard that he also has had 2 more interceptions since then and is one of the surprise players of the camp right now. Notre Dame's loaded in the secondary, and Mike Mickens, who's the coach there in that secondary, just keeps producing player after player, and expect to see him play some football this year with the Fort Wayne angle.
That will be fun to watch. Now, where do the Irish have their question marks? Where are the holes? Because, it was obviously a national runner-up a year ago, so you expect there would be holes. We know about the quarterback situation, but what's the rest of the lineup look like?
First of all, I think with as well and with the great depth of recruiting that Notre Dame has been engaged in the last few years, maybe not a ton of 5-star guys, but a slew of 4-star guys. It's not really a question of holes on this roster. We saw that last year as guys went down, and Notre Dame had a tremendous amount of injuries last year, but they kept plugging guys in. But the question is, do they have the talent to win a championship? This is a playoff caliber roster. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Better than Notre Dame has had from really the differences from player 22 in the depth chart down to about 48. That next group of players is really good. Notre Dame has always had good talent in their starting lineup. Okay, that's a given. So little question marks about that lineup. Defensive tackle, are they championship level? I don't know. But they've got some players there. There's no doubt about that. And going into most years, I would say that they're as well. In fact, I'll say it now anyway. I think their defensive tackle talent is as good as it's been in years. But that's an area you got to dominate. Can the wide receivers, Brett, can they really get the job done this year? They've brought in some more transfers. Jaden Greathouse came on and was tremendous in the playoffs last year. Of course, he's back. This Malachi Fields, though, looks like the real deal. He's the transfer from Virginia. There's really high hopes, but until those guys actually show it on the field and they show that they have tremendous depth, I think that's a question or an area of concern. There's no concerns about the running back situation. Losing Kedron Young to a knee injury the other day, a big disappointment to me, but he was going to be, at best, just a deep depth piece, honestly. I had the pleasure of interviewing him the other day. I'm really interested in him. The dude was 5'11", 245 pounds with great speed. He's a player. It wasn't probably going to happen this year, though. So they're okay there. The running back, of course, Jerry and Prowse, saying a guy named Jeremiah Love.
Aeneas, I can't believe he's back. I'm shocked he's back.
Aeneas Williams, too, who really came on in the playoffs last year. He'll be the third down back. He's shown as a great pass receiver and a good pass blocker. linebacking core, defensive end, Bryce Young, Bubakar Traore, those guys are just top notch. And there's Logan Thomas and Jordan Botello, who's hurt right now, but he'll be back probably by the end of September. They got it. Are they quite at that level to get them to where Ohio State was in the game last year and won the championship? That's the question. To be at that elite level that gets you the championship, I don't know. But
Judge, I've got to
not
ask
any
you about
obvious
tight
holes.
end. Tight end is always a position that seems to flourish at Notre Dame. Who plays tight end?
Yeah, and that's a good question. That's probably one I should have mentioned as one where it's not maybe elite, but Eli Raridan, uh, the kid 6'7", 245, runs like a wide receiver. And since he came in as a freshman, now in his third or fourth year, he's fought through some injuries. Everybody kept saying, "Man, this guy, if he ever arrives, he's going to be, he's All-American caliber." That's the name to watch, though. He played really well towards the end of last season. Eli Raridan, uh, but you got to have two or three tight ends. James Flanagan, who's a freshman, is having a really good camp. They expect him to maybe have an impact right away. So that's your tight end situation. They also brought in a transfer from Arkansas, who they actually thought they were bringing in as more of a blocking type tight end. And I feel horrible right now that his name is escaping me. But in any event, they brought him in, but I'm hearing that they're actually liking the way he's been catching the football too in practice. So that's your tight end situation. That probably is an area of a bit of concern. Is it championship level? I don't know.
Well, it's always a position, that Notre Dame is kind of known for. That different guys are always stepping up and being featured, highlighted, and utilized in that offense. Marcus Freeman. This might be the first year, Judge, that we don't ask what the expectations are and is he on a warm seat at all. I think finally he's cooled off his seat with last year's performance. Is it fair to say Marcus Freeman is the long-term coach now of Notre Dame?
Well, I of course it is. And after the run last year, but will he ever? How long will it take him to exercise that the inexplicable losses that he has been a part of? And last season, Northern Illinois. I mean, Stanford. Uh, there's one the game against not Toledo, but the other MAC school that they lost to a couple of seasons ago. Uh, those concern me, but the run that they went on last year, you got that, and that was amazing, and that was impressive.
Did they lose to Marshall?
Marshall, that's
Was that the
exactly
game?
that's the game
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. But it's he is so beloved, and he has done so many right things to endear himself to Notre Dame Nation. Uh, maybe if Notre Dame doesn't do quite as well this year as they did last year, and he only wins 11 games, 12 games. He's not on the hot seat, but he's got to win the games he's supposed to win, that's for sure. And you can't afford too many more of those type of losses that are really inexplicable. And I think they learned a lot from that last year after coming off the Texas A&M game where they put everything into winning that game, the first game, and then suddenly they go into the next week and it's Northern Illinois. Well, Northern Illinois, that was their Super Bowl, and they came to play, and Notre Dame started slow and never did kick it in.
Does he go to the pros at some point? And if he does, when would that point be?
That's a great question. One that I asked my partner, Tim Priester, he was here this summer and spoke to the Notre Dame golf outing. And that was one of the questions I asked him when we were together at that. And he has some insight personally, talking to him. He thinks there's a chance that he might eventually want to go to the pros just to see if he can do it. He thinks he's not concerned, though, about going to another college from Notre Dame. Of course, the only one you would think he would even be interested in would be his alma mater, which is Ohio State. So I don't know. He's got a good thing going. coaching in the pros is obviously a lot different in the game today because you don't have to do the recruiting, which has become all-encompassing. And Marcus Freeman might want to, at some point, just see what it's like just to coach football and have a lot less concerns with the personnel issues. Leave that to somebody else.
A lot of new regulations. I don't know, not even sure what the right word is when you talk NIL, but we know very little about where Notre Dame exactly is when it comes to NIL. But we know they make money.
Well,
Uh,
they make money, and what we do know is that in this crazy, crazy world that the NCAA has gotten themselves into with college football, where there's more free agency in college football than there is in the NFL. It's there are no rules. You go anywhere you want, and you can make as much money as you want. But there are some guardrails that came in with the latest settlement. You can spend up to 25 million, but there are still real NIL deals that can occur on top of that. But what we do know about Notre Dame is committed 100% to spending as much as anybody else. And so that should make longtime Notre Dame fans happy. It makes me feel kind of icky in a way because I'm old school. I can remember, I'm guys getting in trouble because somebody gave them $25, to go to their kids, I
oh
don't
yeah,
know, birthday party or something.
it's changed so much, Judge. I was yelled at in an airport because I had a 2-for-1 deal at McDonald's on the McDouble,
There you
and
go.
I only could eat one, so I asked the guys traveling with the team if anybody wanted an extra burger, and immediately got shut down by the coaches and told throw it in the trash right away.
Isn't that something?
I had to throw away a 99-cent burger or whatever it was at the time. This is a few years ago.
Well, the
But
pendulum, my friend, has
yeah,
swung in the other direction.
yeah, those guys should be buying me my McDoubles now. That's what they. I
You,
mean, it's unbelievable the
it,
money and how it's distributed.
no,
But the rules, the chaos around the rules that goes with it, is also something that's almost hard to follow. And who gets the advantage, who gets a disadvantage? I almost feel like the way it is right now, Notre Dame may have gained an advantage because they've got the money, but now they can actually spend it. It can be upfront. And if they make that commitment, they're going to be able to compete with anybody in the country. Because before, you had to worry about who was cheating. But now
exactly
it's
correct.
all on the up and up. And I think it evens the scale. And as long as Notre Dame is investing like everybody else is, as long as no one's breaking that system, and we all know that's probably a matter of time. But I feel like it's
We,
evened it out for Notre Dame.
it has. You're absolutely right, and I just saw a comment pop up here that I was exactly thinking, and I wanted to say it. It comes from Rick Longsworth about Steve Alford being suspended for appearing in a calendar for charity. And if anybody who's read Season on the Brink, I mean, Bob Knight was just about ready to lead a charge out of the NCAA and move to Canada or something with his team, and it was just that was the other side of that equation. He was in a
Yeah.
charity calendar for to raise money for, I don't know, leukemia research or something that some sorority had done. And they took his picture among other people that are in that calendar. 1985 or 84 that happened, and yeah, it's
About that time, Judge, I'm surprised they weren't asking a young, handsome Phil Houk if he'd like to be in a calendar.
Mike, I wasn't always all that good at answering my voicemails and my and opening
missed
my
your
mail
calling.
back in those days.
Missed your calling. Let's talk about the schedule. One way you don't lose those bad games is you don't play those types of teams. But Notre Dame has quite the start to the schedule. And Texas, we talked about Miami, but Texas A&M, I think, is a fun one to look at with new head coach Mike Elko uh, taking over Texas A&M. That's somebody that Notre Dame has a lot of familiarity with.
Yeah, well, this schedule is very front loaded for Notre Dame, and it's not just the first two games. It's the only ranked preseason ranked teams on their schedule 3 of the first 6 teams, those are the ranked teams. You've got, as you said, the Miami game at Miami. Notre Dame does. It's good that Notre Dame then has a bye. They'll have another week to prepare for that second game, the rematch from last year, and this time it'll be at Notre Dame Stadium. That'll be the home opener for Notre Dame on the 13th of September. They're preseason ranked 21. Miami is preseason ranked number 10. Notre Dame will be favored to win both of those games. At least they are right now. 2.5-point favorites in the game at Miami. All Notre Dame really probably needs to do, though, to make the playoffs is to split those games, because the rest of the schedule does become a little more forgiving. The next, Purdue, I think Purdue is going to be better under their new regime, new players, much in the way that I'm not going to say it's going to be like what IU did last year, because that's not going to happen. But with all the new players that have come in there and the new spirit, they're going to be a little tougher, but that's probably not a concern for Notre Dame. At Arkansas could be SEC crowd, all those things.
That's going to be a tough one. There's no doubt about it.
Arkansas has been waiting a long time, and then you get your next and only other ranked team on the entire schedule in Boise State. Boise State, a playoff team last year. Now, they lost a lot.
Yeah.
They lost a lot, but that's a solid program that has been good for a real long time. There's some other fun games that'll come up later in the season, including Notre Dame gets to face their Steve Angeli at Syracuse.
Yeah. I think I recognize the comment that came in with that mention.
Well, that was a good reminder by somebody who's in the other room right now. And it's interesting another game that I find interesting, not just facing Steve Angeli in the next to last game. Syracuse was good last year too, by the way, but they lost a lot. But Steve Angeli, that's going to be interesting. But at Stanford to close the season. Now, Stanford, that's a program that's just in a world of hurt. They're trying to rebuild for the third time in the last 5-6 years. But their coach is Frank Reich.
Yeah, well, their general manager, who's running the football program, is Andrew Luck. Yeah,
it's Colts West, man.
Yes.
Although they, of course, both have Stanford ties. So I just think that's just kind of a crazy thing. Of course, USC will be good. They're not ranked preseason, but they probably should be.
Going to Pitt is no cakewalk either.
Never.
I mean, that's always a scary game, having to play Pitt at Pitt.
Always is. So, I mean, these are not those games are not easy. You're right when you look at the schedule to say there's not a lot of things to phone in this time.
Yeah.
But overall, the strength I don't think is quite what it was last year, honestly. Or no, I shouldn't say that. It's stronger up front, but once you get past that, I think it's a little more likely that they could get on a run again, just like they did last year.
Isn't that a little bit of a concern, though, having a front-loaded schedule when you still don't have a quarterback at this point?
It most certainly
Back
is.
to where we started this whole conversation.
It most certainly is. And that's a great way to look at it, Brett. And maybe that's why they're just looking at a little bit more consistency right now out of Kenny Minchie and say maybe we can trust this guy a little bit more.
Who on that schedule at the beginning? I'm trying to think. Texas A&M, who they've got at quarterback. I don't know. I know Miami lost theirs. Cam Ward obviously is in Tennessee in the NFL.
Carson Beck.
I'm thinking, is it equal playing field where everybody else up there is also replacing a quarterback and maybe some coaching changes and different things? So
I can't tell. I was listening to another podcast today, and the Texas A&M, that name, I don't have that name at my fingertips, but it's a really good dual threat quarterback that transferred in there. That Texas A&M will have a good quarterback, that. But Carson Beck in the first game, he missed his chance to go against Notre Dame, of course, in the Sugar Bowl last year because he was injured. So this will be his chance to right that wrong for, I'm sure, what he feels for the loss that Georgia suffered in that game. So that's certainly an interesting matchup. Quarterback wise.
Well, I did see some thoughts that maybe Carson Beck was cashing in and not really committed to on-field performance as much as Miami was hoping. So we'll see where that develops as they get closer to
Oh,
that kickoff.
that's a good storyline that Notre Dame fans can hope for, right?
Something, yeah, something to follow. Judge, always appreciate you. Fighting Irish preview back again. When can we expect to see or hear from Fighting Irish preview, and how do we access you?
Well, the first game 8/31, the last day of this month. That's a Sunday. That's the first game that Notre Dame plays this year on prime time on Sunday night of Labor Day weekend. And we're back on Saturday morning as we have been for 29 years. And it'll run twice on Saturday mornings again. Thank you, Mr. Rump, for working with me on that. This year, though, the timing will be a little bit different. Now, last year we ran when we added the second show, it was at 6:30, right, in the morning, which I don't, that show probably I know it had a lot of listeners because a lot of people discovered that I was alive after 28 years on the air, that the show existed. But the second show, for a lot of reasons, is going to run at 8:30. So 6:30 and 8:30. So we'll have two runnings, a half hour each morning. You can look me up on Fighting Irish Preview. The content will pick up significantly. We've got a lot of good photography on there right now, but the photography, or I should say that my personal content will pick up significantly now that the season's about to kick off. Usually I have 3 or 4 stories every week. So fightingirishpreview.com. We also do the YouTube thing just like you are now. In fact, I got a guy out there recording this right now. He's going to cut it all up and get your pretty face all over my own Fighting Irish
Oh no,
preview page.
I know how editing works.
I was
face for
actually
radio.
talking about Adam, but anyway.
Yeah. I was going to say, it'd be real easy right now. You two are sitting next to each other. Somebody could edit this, and it'd be like I was never even in the show. It'd be perfect.
But so fightingirishpreview.com and great. I want to thank all the great sponsorship that keeps coming back year after year, like the Notre Dame Federal Credit Unions and this year Miller Lite 50th anniversary. So they wanted to celebrate that as part of my show. And that'll be part of my sponsorship, and just a lot of great Indiana Physical Therapy, and I don't know, 8 or 9 others that are all been very loyal to me.
Well, we'll look forward to that. That again will start August 30th, twice in the mornings on 1380 The Fan, and of course you can catch the podcast. The website is fightingirishpreview.com.
Yep. Please go there. Subscribe. It costs you nothing. If you subscribe though, you get a little reminder, which you're free to just delete really fast, but you get a reminder that new content is up every time, and so that's really easy. But if you really want to, you can go there and buy me a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is now everything that the word subscribe just automatically seems like it's attached to some kind of a monthly fee, and so we're saying on this YouTube channel, be sure you subscribe. And we're not asking for money. We're just asking for somebody to click a button. That's all we're asking. So
that's it.
There's no obligation, no commitment. You're not going to get a whole bunch of emails. Your phone's not going to ring every day. But I mean, all we want is just a number that impresses the YouTube algorithm. That's it.
And if you like what you're hearing here, and you wouldn't like it maybe if we're turning you off really bad, I don't know, but people are listening, and they are listening right now, and you'd probably just click us off immediately if you didn't like it. Subscribe. Lots of great content. I was in that group, and there was a big group, Mr. Rump, that wasn't happy about the radio show going away, but you found I always said you had a face made for radio, and here we go again.
And I'm proving it by doing this. Yeah,
you're fine. You're fine on YouTube. You're doing great.
I have worked for 3 months trying to figure out my best look. Whether and you know what? I will never have a best look. I'm finally committed to understanding that my best look was about 40 years ago.
Well, we become wise when we're comfortable in our own skin. So it sounds like you've become wise, and so have I hope.
And Judge, you look great And it's good to see you in good health. Everything good from the health front. I know you had a
I
health issue a couple of years ago, and we're
I am.
glad to see you
I just hit my
looking good.
microphone, I think. No, I'm in great shape. I'm ready to go. I'm 3 years out from those health issues, and just ready to roar for Fighting Irish preview for another year.
Appreciate you joining us on a Sunday night. I know we kept you a little long, and we appreciate that. Look forward to talking to you again, Judge.
Good talking to you guys.
Yep, that is
Bye,
the
Judge.
Judge Bill Houk joining us here on our Sports Rush YouTube edition. Always great to get the latest on Notre Dame. And as we said, make sure you're following him. Make sure you're on his YouTube and you subscribe to him. Make sure you're connected through all his social media. Go to the website. And then on Saturday mornings, whether it's Early Bird, the 6:30 edition, or the 8:30 edition, which actually is the same edition, we just play it twice. But what we found is that 6:30 show, you've got there are people that are up and out and they're going and either running errands or they're heading to a college campus to go to a college game that day. Many of them might be leaving early in the morning. And maybe 8:30 pushes the time limit that they're able to hear the show, so it makes it very nice. They can do it at 6:30, or if they're like me, where you like to get up and at 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings, you like to go to the grocery store because you really don't want to run into anybody and have to, waste time with conversation. And not that I don't like talking to people, but when I'm going to the grocery, man, I am on a mission to get in, get my stuff, get out. And I
Yeah.
don't want people to see me in the grocery store and judging how horribly I eat, because you'll see a cart full of donuts, ho-hos, Twinkies, and other snacks. I call them snacks.
And at least a couple cases of your favorite beverage, I'm sure.
Well, my favorite beverage,
Come
Adam.
on now.
Um, you know, I've got to
Sponsor.
get product placement in here because maybe someday they'll be kind enough to sponsor. That's my
That'd be
favorite
great.
beverage. That's yeah. All right, we got to talk about the Indiana Fever. They got a new player.
They do, yeah. They're going through a lot of hardships, so what's better than a hardship contract?
Yep, and so they have signed Odyssey Sims to a hardship contract, and you know how crazy is it? The two players that are almost identical, in their size, their skill set, the way they've been utilized. I mean, one basically has been subbing for the other. Ari McDonald, who was herself a hardship contract for the first Caitlin Clark injury and then ended up signing a full year contract. She is now out with a broken bone in her foot, will miss the rest of the season. And Sid Colson, who was a free agent signing before the season began, she tears her ACL. She is out for the year. And so two players go down in the same game. Both injuries happened in the game against Phoenix on Thursday. And the crazy rules of the WNBA is the Fever can't sign a hardship contract until the players have officially missed a game. And so both players go out on the same game, but they've got to wait until they played Chicago yesterday. And then once they played Chicago, then now they actually missed a game, so they could sign somebody to the hardship contract today. They do. I mean, I don't know that much about some of the players that have been in and out of the league, but if you have followed the WNBA, chances are at some point you have come across Sydney Odyssey Sims, because she has played in her career with the Tulsa Shock, the Dallas Wings, the LA Sparks, the Minnesota Lynx, the Atlanta Dream, and the Connecticut Sun.
Yeah, quite
Now
the
the Fever.
WNBA journeywoman.
I believe then with Connecticut, she probably was playing for Stephanie White, which is probably where the connection is, where she understands Coach White. She was collegiately a star at Baylor. She was part of a 2012 national championship team under Coach Mulkey. And she was the number 2 overall draft pick back in 2014. So I don't know what kind of shape she's in. I don't know where she's been playing or what kind of
China.
ball she's been playing, but she is the emergency signing that's going to have to fill that role. I don't know her if it even said in the press release. Now, over her career, she averaged over 11 points per game, almost 4 assists, an 11-year career that that it supposedly ended in 2025. Now, I don't know if she played for the Sparks this year. Do you know?
From what I've been able to gather, she played part of the 2024-25 season for the Sparks, and then
Well, they
ended up.
only have a 24 season and a 25 season.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because her career history, it says 24-25 LA Sparks, but then it also says 2024 she played in China. So I don't know if it was China then LA, but I don't
Well, you
know.
could play the summer of 24 in LA, the
And then the
winter in
winter,
China, and then come back and maybe start the season with the Sparks. I
maybe,
don't
yeah.
know, but anyway, so she is joining the Fever. Caitlin Clark still probably a couple of weeks away. Big news though last night. How about the combo? The blonde Barbie girls. They had a big one last night. I was kind
Yeah.
of critical of them because I started to get a little sick about so much social media, so much TikTok and podcasts. And I'm like, just win dang games. They had lost a couple of games in a row. I thought it's is it a coincidence that as soon as I start seeing this new podcast, I see Aaliyah Boston on a podcast, I see Sophie Cunningham on a podcast, I see post after post um, with Sophie and Lexi doing their matching outfits, all that stuff going on, and then the Fever in the meantime lose 2 games in a row, and Lexi didn't play well. I mean, there's no hiding the fact that she has not shot the ball well for about the last 6 or 7 games. And so I was a little frustrated, but I was very pleasantly pleased to see both players hit 3 pointers and hit them well in the game yesterday. And they destroy. Chicago's a total mess, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, not only were they just not the best team in the W to begin with, they've suffered a lot of injuries and just players not living
There's
up to
no cohesiveness.
expectations.
There's no fight
No.
for one another. That is a team that is just totally lost. And you wonder if culture is established by certain star players because um, I think there is a conflict, and I'm not trying to break news or I'm not trying to spread rumors, but just things I've read where I think there's a bit of a conflict, or perhaps they're not the closest of players or teammates with Cardoso and Angel Reese. Um, they both are bigs, they're both posts, they're both high draft picks, and I just, and when your best players aren't connected, that's a problem. Right now, you see the Fever, they're connected. You look at the Liberty, you look at the Minnesota Lynx. I mean, the teams that are really good, those top players are on the same mission. They're connected with one another. They like one another. They're bonded. They create a great culture for their teammates around them. I don't know that the Chicago Sky has that. I do know what the Chicago Sky has is a serious organizational problem, and I'm not sure where it starts, how high up it starts, where it filters down. But I will tell you that team is a mess. I mean, the discipline during timeouts, the way they play on the court, it's a mess, and they're getting smoked by almost 30 every night. And yeah, they
Yeah,
have injuries. Before you send me a message and say, well, they've been hit really hard. Yeah, they have. I know, but so is the Fever, and the Fever are still fighting like hell, and they play for each other.
yeah, it's just a disconnect in Chicago right now, and I don't think they're going to be figuring it out anytime this season. Probably will miss the playoffs, so just not a good year for the Sky.
All right. Final note I wanted to get into the podcast this week is that we know kind of what our high school football broadcast Friday night are going to look like. Adam, you and I are going to do the Friday night post game show. I don't even know if you know this. I might be
I
breaking.
haven't really been filled in, no.
Okay, so I'm probably breaking news to you because I just learned about this Friday. You and I are going to be doing the Friday night high school post game show, kind of like we are right here, right now. You're going to be in the brand new state of the art Coventry studios doing the scoreboard.
Okay, yep, can do.
And I am going to be doing my commentary and coaches interviews from your hometown Pizza Hut restaurant.
Hey, that's fantastic. I'm glad at least one of us will be able to get out to the Pizza Hut still.
So, man, that whole tab now is going to be all mine.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go hard. You're just gonna go home with like 2 pans and
Yeah,
live it up for a week.
no, but anyway, so we will have the post game show. Always the most popular. I think it's the most popular, and I don't say that because it's people's favorite, because I think they enjoy the games. They enjoy the pregame show. We have a killer pregame show if you're out heading to high school football games.
Oh yeah.
But the postgame show is your first chance to really get the scoreboard without spending 45 minutes trying to go through X and figure out who beat who and not find scores. You know what it's like because you have to do it to collect scores for our postgame show.
Oh yeah.
Um, Nobody can do it. It's easier just to listen to us. So we're going to have the post game show. Brand new sponsor this year, Kester's Truck Sales, is going to step up and be our post game sponsor. Midwest Box Breaks back once again as our presenting sponsor for the high school football game of the week. Big thanks to Ben for stepping up. And of course, our Parkview Sports Medicine high school football tailgate pregame show coming soon to a stadium near you with Jim, Shannon, and Doot. And that we'll just tell you right now, folks, get ready, Leo. We're coming to you for week one.
All right.
Lures at Leo, our game one game of the week. And we're excited about that. That comes up, hard to believe, but it is less than 2 weeks away.
Crazy.
Less, 2 weeks from Friday. So this coming Friday, you'll have your formal scrimmages, and then the following week, the season kicks off, and we will be there for all the coverage. We still have plenty of key sponsorships available. We do need support. I will say that we need businesses that support what we do on Friday nights.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no,
I had too
you're
much
good.
of my Pepsi there.
Speaking of support,
My
Rick
Pepsi,
Longsworth,
my Pepsi Zero, available at a grocer near you.
Cha-ching. But yeah, no, Rick Longsworth said it might be possible for me to be bribed to deliver pizza to Adam from Coventry Pizza Hut. I like the way you think, Rick.
Rick, can't do that. That would have to come out of my tab, and then I would be somewhere remotely without it. Can you imagine if I say, "Hey, I'd like to order a pizza to get something to eat to cap off my Friday night," and the pizza I'm at tells me, "I'm sorry, Mr. Rump,
Your budget's already been used at Coventry.
That tab tonight." I could at least control it when you were sitting next to me.
I won't do that to you, buddy.
No, we'll have some fun. Yeah, so you've counted on us for years for high school football coverage. We're going to be there for you again this year, starting with Lures at Leo. By the way, I got a new haircut, and I got to figure out here. I'm using my YouTube monitor as a mirror right now. I don't know.
Looks fresh from it.
Is it fresh? Is that the word?
No, this just looks like a nice fresh cut, my man.
I went fresh cut today for the show.
I like it.
Yeah, didn't shave, which makes me look old, but makes me look like the old homeless guy that's trying to do a YouTube show.
Nah, come on.
Lazy weekend. I'll be shaved tomorrow, I promise. All right, Tin Caps are at home this week, and there's only 2 more weeks of home baseball.
Yeah, time to get out to the ballpark. Last couple chances here coming up.
Well, if they don't play any better than they did this past week, that might be a blessing.
Yeah, it was a rough series against the South Bend Cubs, which was not one of the better teams in the Midwest League, although they are vying for a
Well, they're
playoff
they're
spot.
they're they're
Yeah,
working
they're
their way
streaking
up.
now. Yeah, but
They're
still,
getting better. They've actually picked up some help during the season. Not so much for the Tin Caps. We all know their story.
yeah,
So, but West Michigan comes in. It's a Detroit Tigers affiliate. A lot of people in our area are Tigers fans, so they enjoy coming out and seeing the future of the Tigers. And so many, the Torkelsons and
yeah.
the guys that end up in Detroit, they come through. In fact, Wenzel Perez, he
Hmm.
was actually here on a rehab with West Michigan earlier this season. Of course, one of the uh, key players for the Detroit Tigers. But West Michigan will be in starting on Tuesday, running through Sunday. Big promotions all week long, including Seinfeld night
Yep.
with Peterman.
It's gonna be
Uh,
fun. All the Seinfeld fans are gonna be out
John
in full force.
O'Hurley, the actor that played Peterman, will be here. And somebody was asking me my favorite show, and I said favorite all time is probably Seinfeld.
There you go, and
So
you'll
I'm looking very forward to Friday.
yeah, hopefully you'll get a chance to say hello.
My last Friday at Parkview Field. Rest of
There
my
you go.
Fridays will be high school football.
Crazy, crazy.
All right, got to wrap it up.
All right, sir.
All right, so that will do it for another edition here of the live edition of Sports Rush. We want to thank you for watching. Make sure before you do depart that you get on YouTube and you click that subscribe button. You give us the thumbs up. You share this channel with your friends. And don't forget, we'll have plenty of video clips and shorts that'll be cut up from this program. And we will be back with you, another live edition coming up next week as we count down to the start of football season, high school, college, Colts. We'll have it all covered. Northeast Indiana sports right here on this YouTube channel. But thank you so much for spending time with us here live on this Sunday. I am Brett Rump. Have a terrific week, and we will talk to you again soon here on the Sports Rush on YouTube.